Hey, welcome back, guys. As promised, I'm gonna go into a deeper dive about how to farm a neighborhood properly. So hit like, subscribe, click the notifications button below, and stay tuned with us as we drop more videos on how to be successful in the roofing industry. So check this out. So I wanna kind of go a little bit further into this on the multiple stages of farming a neighborhood. So in re-roof, we have a couple different stages here. So we have your inspection / claim filed. You have an adjuster appointment, right? That's when the insurance claims adjuster comes out to assess the damage after a claim is filed. You have your contract signing. You have install. So here you go. So you got your initial inspection. You inspected Mrs. Smith's house and you found hail damage or wind damage or whatever, something to invite the carrier out to come take a look at the damage, and they file a claim. So I brought the board a little bit closer so you guys can see. So this is how you would work or farm a neighborhood. So first on the initial inspection, and notice right here, we have 5 stages. And so in our industry, they say it takes an average of 5 touches. I hope it doesn't take you 5 touches of a homeowner. A touch is talking to the homeowner. That's what we call a touch, right? Every time you talk to the homeowner. So you may talk to Mrs. Smith right here. She says, hey, I don't make any decisions without my husband. That would be 1 touch, right? That follow-up touch is when the husband's home. Maybe you set up a meeting, right? You guys get the point. That's what a touch is, okay? But in our industry, they say it's an average of 5 touches. So you have your initial inspection. So if I inspect this house right here, this is how I'm gonna farm the neighborhood. Is 1, while you're up on a roof, that's the best time to look at other roofs, right? While I'm on Mrs. Smith's roof, I'm also looking at that neighbor's roof. I'm also looking over here. I may see some flashing, some discoloration, some algae, some missing shingles, a lot of different things to bring the homeowner's attention to. So I might see that. So I will already have this homeowner's name. So I will go to the next neighbor over here and I will say, hey, I was on Mrs. Smith's house. While I was up there, I noticed that you have X, Y, or Z going on. It only takes me about 5 to 10 minutes to really assess what's going on up there. I'll give you a photo report when I'm done. It's free of charge. I don't charge you anything. Give me about 5-10 minutes. I'll knock on your door when I get finished up. And I turn and burn and I walk away. Now I've got this one, right? Now maybe all of these ones were not home, okay? Maybe this one's not interested or their husband isn't home, right? There's all these different rhymes or reasons of why I don't talk to this person, but these are all touches, okay? I can consider a touch as well, me leaving a not home letter, a letter why I came by their house, things of that nature. So I'm gonna leave that on their door. So if they're not home, I'm gonna say, hey, the reason of why I knocked on their door and the reason of why I was being there. So all of this would be considered 1 touch. The next time, when I'm over at this particular homeowner's house for the insurance adjustment, I get finished with the insurance adjustment and then I'm gonna talk to these people again. I'm gonna go knock. Remember I said some of these people were not home. Maybe this person was not interested, because if the insurance paid for the damages on this person's roof, I wanna let the neighbors know that insurance is paying for roofs out here, right? She had a significant amount of damage. I'll actually show them the pictures of the adjuster appointment so they can see the damage on this particular person's home. So then they can see, oh snap, they had it, I might have it too. But you see throughout all of these stages, there's a different approach on each one of these stages, right? So on the inspection and file the claim, it's gonna be, hey, I was at Mrs. Smith's house. While I was on Mrs. Smith's house, I noticed you had this going on, and I can name drop and also look at things while I'm on someone's roof. So that's 1. 2 is once you have an adjuster appointment. I know a lot of roofing companies have pitches, but I'm all about being informative, because if you knock on someone's door, you sound salesy or you're using a roofing pitch, a lot of times homeowners can smell blood in the water and they say, no, I'm not interested. But if you're being informative and letting them know what happened in their neighborhood and letting them know what happened with their neighbor, they're more prone to listen to what you have to say, and then you can turn it into an inspection. So the adjuster appointment route is just letting them know, hey, Allstate just paid, $20,000 or paid for her roof or whatever that specific situation was, and you're letting them know. 3 is while I'm at Mrs. Smith's house again, once I walk out and I finish up the contract signing, I want to let all of these neighbors know when the install is going on. Okay, so I come out, I have the contract done. I already know what's going on. This is another informative piece that I can let neighbors know. I say, hey, Mrs. Smith, she had a 25-year shingle. We're upgrading her to a 30-year shingle or an impact resistant shingle, right? Whatever special thing you're doing for that homeowner, how you added value, what that experience was like. Now you have all of this information. Go share that with these homeowners, because this person might have been not home. Now they're home after the contract signing. You say, hey, I tried to talk to you a couple days ago at this adjuster appointment, but now I get to talk to you again. Hey, this is what happened with Mrs. Smith. You know, you may have the same thing going on. I'm not too sure, but give me 5 to 10 minutes. I'll look at the roofing system for you and I'll let you know what's going on. And you turn and burn, right? So contract signing, I'm gonna be letting them know what to expect. Letting people know what to expect in the neighborhood is really important, right? Like, how long is this project gonna go on for? You know, what can I expect? There's gonna be cars in the driveway, things that are blocked. They're gonna want a phone number. They're gonna wanna know all of these things. They may have kids. You don't want them going over into Mrs. Smith's yard if there's nails or sharp objects on that project, right? You don't want any elderly to wake up to gunshots and the sound of South Side of Los Angeles abruptly in the morning. We've had that happen before. So it's really important that you're setting the expectations with the neighbors. It goes a long way. So that is gonna be your contract signing / prep. At the day of the install, this is another opportunity for you to talk to these same people. I wanna segue a little bit and tell you guys that the one thing that kills sales reps in roofing is them jumping from neighborhood to neighborhood. Stay in the same neighborhood for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and work that neighborhood, especially if you already have customers there. This is something that a lost art in roofing that I don't see too many people doing, is they knock it for 1 day or they go there for 2 days and they just give up, right? There's 5 stages. Remember, you have information to give them at each one of these stages, okay? On the last video, we went over how to prep at an install, which I think is the easiest way to get a roofing deal in roofing, is prepping other neighbors for an install going on in a day, 2 days, or a week later. You have your day of your install, and then you have post-install, which means I'm gonna ask Mrs. Smith to come introduce me to some of her neighbors. Maybe some of her neighbors were hesitant. They wanted to see the finished product. They wanted to see what Mrs. Smith's experience was like. So now I'm gonna leave Mrs. Smith's house with Mrs. Smith to maybe John's house over here and have Mrs. Smith introduce me, and now John feels a lot more comfortable. I've already talked to him a couple times. He was still hesitant, but now Mrs. Smith closed the deal on the post-install touch. So these are some key points and key nuggets to keep in consideration when you guys are out there knocking doors. I've been in this industry for almost 9 years now. This has been my bread and butter to being successful in the roofing industry. I've been a multi-million-dollar producer at many different companies. So guys, pay attention to this. This is the 8-pack. Some companies call it the 6-pack, but this is really kind of the basics of farming a neighborhood. Stay in that neighborhood. Don't give up. Don't think that that neighborhood's dead, because other companies think the same thing. Stay in that neighborhood and keep it rocking. And click like, click subscribe, and click the notifications button if you want more videos like this on how to be successful in the roofing industry.